Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David. Chanukah Sameach, a Freilich and Chanukah to everybody. And again, we're learning for the sake of our soldiers that they should be successful in their mission. Someone told me that they were going to find the hostages last night or something, and then they know where they are now, and they're going to get them. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I got 2 days ago.
2 days ago, that was on Shabbos. Two soldiers got terribly hurt. Yeah, they should have a refuah shalema. Okay, well, let's just hope that we will be successful. Okay, so we were learning this lesson, Halacha Gimel, and this is going on for a couple of weeks now, and based on the story of the exchanged children, right? And now the Rebbe Noson is going to really just close out the lesson, and then we'll have a little review on the inyanim that we learned on Chanukah. So here we go, Mem Zayin 47. All right. So the Rebbe now is going to tell us about the greatness of the stories of the Rebbe, of Rebbe Nachman. He's going to tell us the greatness of the tzaddik himself. Yata im tachzor usa'ayin bidrush hazeh meirosh l'seifay. Now, if you go back and you'll take a look into this whole discourse that the Rebbe gave, that Reb Noson gave us from the very beginning to the end, all right? So that was a long lesson, right? A lot of things in the lesson, right? Yep. Tovin v'saskil heitiv eich kol ha'inyonim hamevoarim kan mukushorim umuchuborin heitev zeh b'zeh. You'll see how each thing was so well planned, and each thing was so well connected, and it was perfectly planned out. Afal pi shebetchila nira l'chayre she'ena mukushorim zeh l'zeh kol kach. Even though when we first started learning, you may have thought that I'm just giving you things that are disjointed, have nothing to do one with another, right? Because we were talking about the story, right? And then we talked about inyanim of Chanukah. Then we talked about the things of Hashem's shame, the name of Hashem, and the kinoi, the aliases of Hashem's name, right? We spent a lot of time on these things. And it seemed like what do all these things have to do with that story? Aval im ta'ayin heitiv tovin kishuram v'chiburam heitiv. But if you look into it deeply, and you'll study it, and you really pay attention to it, you'll see how everything is perfectly planned, everything is perfectly put in there the way it's supposed to be. Everything was put together with a very, very wondrous kesher bind. It was bound very wondrously. And through this, you'll understand a little bit how great Rebbe Nachman was and his wisdom was. Because if he could draw all of these things out of one of his stories, right? One of his stories. You take all of these concepts out of a story. You could see how great the storyteller was, right? Rebbe Nachman said that the world tells stories to put people to sleep. He tells stories to wake people up. And we see it. Yeah. Ugedulas hamasiyah shaloi shetziper, the wonders of his stories that he told, like we just said. Ki Hashem is baruch yedeya, shani yedeya ba'atzmi. Hashem knows. Reb Noson's writing about himself now. That Hashem knows about the yedeya ba'atzmi. I know in my shebechol ma shekasafti, that everything that I wrote, all these things that I wrote, and all of the things that remain in my mind that I can't pen. I have so many thoughts. Reb Noson say I have so many thoughts. I can't pen them. I can't write them down. There's so many things. Al kol ze adayin loy nigati afilu bechelik me'elef urivava mitipa min hayam me'efes kotza misoid echad misoides hanarois. I didn't touch one drop, not even a drop of the secrets and the hints and all of the things that are in that story. With all this information I gave you, he says, we didn't even begin to unravel it. Not even begin. We spoke about a few things, but on the basic surface. On the basic surface.
On the exchange children.
Yeah. Hatei oznecho shma pikach einecha. Pay attention with your ears. Hatei oznecha ushman. Listen. Pikach einecha. Focus your eyes. Urei and see. Gedulas Hashem Yisbarach. How great Hashem is. How great Hashem is. Right? How Hashem runs the world in such a miraculous way. A mysterious, miraculous way. How everything He guides exactly the way He wants it to do, even though we don't see Him in the picture. He purposely hides Himself from it. But if you study, if you look into it, you can mamish see the Yad Hashem and everything. But He purposely wants people to not be able to see Him, because then He allows there to be Bechira in the world. Right? If He would be clear, everything would be so blatant, there would be no Bechira in the world. We also learned that His name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is so bright. Right? There's so much light. The light is so potent, the light. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu hides the light from us because it will be damaging to us. Right? Why? Because of the problem with the zuam of the nachash, the impurity of the snake.
So there are more moments of Purim than we realize.
More moments of, yes. More moments of Chanukah than we realize also. Yeah. Well, Purim was a good example. You actually did, because again, you don't see Hashem's name anywhere in the Megillah. Right? But Chazal tell us every time it says HaMelech, and it doesn't say HaMelech Achashverosh, right? So it's referring to Hashem. Right? You have to see that. Right? You can read the story. You could just take out the story and read the story, and you would think that it's talking about only the king Achashverosh. You don't see Hashem. But that's what we need Chazal. That's what we need the great rabbis to teach us, to tell us how to read things and how to see the messages behind things. Right? Okay. And all of the great tzaddikim. All the great tzaddikim. Ma yulad isha yocha liskais bezel olam im yirtza. Wow, these are big words. What a person can accomplish in this world if he wants to. You have to want to. You have to want to accomplish. Right? And that goes back to what we were learning yesterday about the koyach hamedameh, right? The imagination, right? And then we learned all the ideas of when you see the Riyas Pnei Tzaddik, right? You see the Tzaddik. You realize, wait a second, he's also a human being. He's also a human being like I am. But look what he accomplished, right? And it causes something in the mind. It's Neitzut Samayach. It causes the mind to start to, what am I doing? Look at the words he says. Yulad Isha Yochel Liskois B'Zaylam Im Yirtza. You see that? You have to want. If we want to want, it's amazing what we can accomplish.
Sometimes for some reason, I think I'm afraid to do something. Not that not in my head that I don't want to, but in my heart. There's something, I don't know if it's the Yetzer Hara.
The Yetzer Hara is in the heart, yes, that's
right. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
A lot of effort.
Right.
Damn.
No, but that's what we're learning about the Eved and the Ben, right? The Eved and the Ben, right? Right? Yeah. Hashem Yisbarach Yoreh Eineinu b'ma'or tayrosai v'yigala emes ba'olam b'mheira v'yameinu. Amen. Kodesh Baruch Hu Mama should do that for us, And it was just an amazing thing. So we can go through now. We can go over a couple of points on Chanukah, right? That we learned about in this lesson in Halacha Gimel, right? And we learned about the idea of the clarity that's made when we light the candles, right? When we actually light the menorah, right? We bring clarity, truth into the world. We're bringing the truth into the world. Right? In other words, when we light a candle, the same way, let's say like this, let's understand like this. In the Beis HaMikdash, right, the Kohen would have to light the fire on the Mizbeach, right? But then we knew there was a fire that came down from heaven and took the carbon, right? We know that, right? Because we did something, and then came another fire, a lofty fire, came down and consumed the carbon, right? We all know that? We know that, right? 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 We did something. So it's the same idea when we light the menorah. We're lighting the menorah, but there's a light that's choseh that comes down from Shemayim to us. And that's the light of emes in the world. That's the light of emes that comes into the world. It's an amazing thing. Well, then we learned about the idea that there were 8 days of Chanukah, right? And the whole idea that we're trying to push emes over sheker. It's the war of emes over sheker. Is that the war we're in right now? Right? We have the war of truth and false, right? Right? Most of the world is going on false. We're trying to bring out the truth in the world, right? And it's very hard. It's very hard to do that, right? Because the lies in the world are so blatant, right?
It's so strong, and people believe them.
And they believe them. But that's the whole idea. And then how the Yevonim tried to hide Hashem's name. Right? We have to write on the horn of our animals that we ain lo chelik be'elokei Yisrael, right? We have no part in the God of Israel, right? Because if we have no part in the God of Israel, we're not going to study the name of Hashem, so we won't bring the name of Hashem in the world. That's what the whole Yevonim were trying to do, right? And they're still doing it now, right? They're still trying to blot out Hashem's name as much as they can in the world. It's fascinating. And they wanted us to forget the Torah, right? The Yevonim wanted us to forget the Torah. Why? Because the Torah was the names of Hashem, right? The Torah is all the names of Hashem. And if we forget the Torah, we have no part in the Torah, so of course we won't have anything to do with Hashem, and then the lies of the world can get stronger because the light of Hashem goes down. That's the Ma'orei Eish. The Ma'orei Eish increases, and then we put down the Ma'orei Or. And that's what they want.
Is there a distinction between what I've heard, the 70 names of Hashem, versus the whole Torah being the names of Hashem?
No, there's no concept of 70 names of Hashem.
Oh, no?
There's 70 nations, 70 languages. Okay?
There are 10 names of Hashem.
There's more than 10. The whole Torah is Hashem's names.
But you cannot delete.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Are there about 10?
There are more than 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are 10 that you cannot delete if you write in. But
Yeah, I understand.
There are
Okay.
much more
Yeah.
Kabbalah.
There are many more names of Hashem. Okay, many more names. But they wanted us to forget that. And then we learned that the whole idea, the chinuch of the avodas hakabonis, that we learned that yesterday, right? The idea of the chinuch, right? To teach us what the Beis HaMikdash was, and to make us realize, right? Because again, most of the Jews at the time were Hellenists, and they had to relearn what is the Beis HaMikdash, what is this, and they went on for a long time, right? The Hellenism, I think, was on for like 100, and I don't know how many years was it, almost 200 years, right? It was going on for a very long time. So it had to be, again, to be mechanech them. What is the Beis HaMikdash? What is the Torah? What is all this? They were learning, they all thought it was about the Greeks. And then it was a whole new thing here. Oh, we won the war. How did we do that? How did these couple of guys, how did they win the war? How did they do that? Rabim Ma'atim, right? Rabim Mi'ad Ma'atim. We had multitudes of these Greek soldiers in the hands of these few guys, right? Unbelievable. right? So they had to be mechanech them. And then we learned about the whole idea about the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash. Why is that called avodah, right? So we learned the idea that you have to take the problem and nip the problem in the bud, right? So in other words, we have the exchange of the Ben HaMelech with the Ben HaShifcha, right? So we took on the role of the Shifcha. We think we are the servant. That's what we think. So how do you fix that? By actually doing work for Hashem on that side. That's how you can fix it. And what's the highest work that you can do for Hashem? Serving the Beis HaMikdash. Right? Serving the Beis HaMikdash. The avodah of the Beis HaMikdash is the highest service. That's the highest service. But again, today, like we learned, that we have the karbanos today, and we can say the parsha of karbanos, and that's also like ki'ilu that we brought the carbon. Ki'ilu, right? It was like as if you brought that carbon, and that's an amazing thing right there. So we can keep that in mind, right? Every time that we could take out the siddur and we could say the parsha of karbanos, every time we can come before mincha and say the parsha of the tamid, the pita makatayris. What a beautiful thing that is, right? Right? That would be a beautiful thing, right?
If there would be a real temple, you would make the korbanos.
Yeah.
Instead of like doing that.
No, but right now we can.
Also,
But right now when you say the karbanos, it's if you brought the karbanos. If you say it, if you say the carbon, you say the words, it's as if you're creating the carbon.
Yeah, but maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I know.
The temple, you know.
Right. And then we learned the whole idea about halal. And why we say halal on Chanukah, right? The first stanza we learned about, right? We start off that we say halu avdei Hashem, avdei Hashem. And then we end off aim abundance samecha hallelujah. Because again, when you're saying halal and you're enjoying the halal, that's more feeling your love with Hashem. That's feeling the love. When you're davening a regular tefillah, so you may feel like I have to do this. I feel command. But when you come to a halal and you enjoy the words, so then it's more like you're acting more like the ben. You're acting more like the child because you love Hashem. You want to say these words. It's a little bit different than the rest of the tefillah. Although if we work on it hard enough, the rest of the tefillah can be always like halal. Right? All right.
Rab Katz started to speak very about building the temple.
What's that?
Rab Shlomo Katz, started to really speak about building the temple.
Okay.
He did it in Shabbat. He said, we should now still really build a temple.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
So learn about building the temple. That's how you can build a temple. Yeah, learn about it. When we study about it, that's how we can do it.
No, there is a call that's studying that.
Yeah, okay.
It's in the old city.
Yes. Yeah, okay. And then to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we have a skarvus, that we have a connection with the tzaddikim and the teachings of the tzaddikim, to try to set us straight, to understand what's going on in the world, to see it from a special way, in a special way, to understand what's going on in a different view than the world gives us. And that's an amazing thing that we say. We have a bracha in Shemon Esrei, we say, ala tzaddikim, ala chasidim, shalom mivtach la tzaddikim, right? So it's not a foreign concept, right? It's one of the brachas in Shemon Esrei we say 3 times a day, right? We believe in the tzaddikim, right? We say in the morning, vayaminu b'Hashem uva Moshe avda, right? We say that every morning, right? So that's a nice thing. So these are one of the wonderful things that we learned. That we learned Baruch Hashem regarding Halacha Gimel, and the main thing was that we learned on the bracha, the first bracha of the birchas of the morning, that we make the first bracha that we make lahafchem bein yom uvein laila. For us to really understand that when we say that bracha in the morning, to think what is good, what is bad, what am I supposed to connect myself to? What should I take myself away from? What should I avoid? Right? And that's really such a fundamental thing when we say the brachas. And then we learned also about the bracha of Shalei Asani Oved, right? I don't have to be an Eved. I'm not an Eved. Shalei Asani Eved. I'm not an Eved. I'm not an Eved. Right? We make a bracha on that every day. Shalei Asani Oved. I'm not an Eved. I'm not a servant. To remind us, hey, you're the Ben Melech. You're the Ben HaMelech. You are the Ben HaMelech. Shaloi Asani Oved. What does that mean? If I'm not an Eved, that means I'm the Ben HaMelech, right? We say the bracha every morning, right? And then we learned the idea with the sun and the moon, right? And we make the bracha of Mal Visharumim. So we said that the sun is enclosing the moon, right? Because the moon had a complaint to Hashem that we can't have two kings with one crown. So Hashem said to make him smaller. Therefore, the moon says, every time the sun comes out, I have no name. Remember? Right? Then the moon comes out, I have no name. You don't see me no more. The sun came out. No, I'm gone. And the sun really gives the moon and encloses the moon because it's the tikkun of the first really exchange. Really, the real exchange. That was the real exchange, because really the moon is nimshul to Klal Yisrael. We are the moon. We are connected to the moon. So every time, we're going to learn a little bit more about that now in the next lesson. Every time the moon is smaller, every time the moon gets smaller, it's us getting smaller, but to recognize that every yerid that we have is only the taklas of the aliyah. All right, so now let's get started.
But then, I ask you to do one thing.
Yeah.
In the book, it talks about this.
In what book?
In the Exchange Children.
Yeah.
In the one that I have. It talks about when he was going, the man from the forest came, when he was trying to, if he could make the land the one of the wisdom.
Yeah.
That he gave him a new tool, which you talk about here, like to understand.
He gave that device that he could put on the animal and it'll sing.
Well, that was the first one, but there was another one where he gave him a tool where he would understand relationships, like one from another.
No, he would understand. He would understand one thing from the other thing.
Yes.
The connections, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what does that, is there something, what does that mean besides understanding the...
It means take one thing that you learn and understand something else from it. Learn things out of things. Look back in life. Look back and learn lessons out of your things that you, and find Hashem through things, through everything.
Through everything. Find
Hashem. And you can. If you go back in your life, I mean, I remember I had my Rebbe, and he said, you have to always remember, it's not, again, with the baseball cards, he said, it's not with the averages, right? With the averages, he says, Hashem has a very good average. He has a very good, just look back in your own life and look at those situations that you thought was so difficult and you can never, how would you ever get out of them, and see how it always works out. Hashem works it out for us. If we just trust in Him, that's all we have to do, trust in Him. And if we can do that so we can understand look back in your own lives. Forget about somebody else. Look at your own life. Look in your own life, go through your own life and see each time how you thought you had a very trying time, it was a very difficult situation, and Hashem brought a salvation. So Hashem will always do that if you just have to trust in Him and make tshuva. That's what it's all about. Okay? So let's go on now. We'll start Be'ezras Hashem with a lot of siyata d'shmai. This is an amazing lesson. Halacha Hey. Okay? Halacha Hey. In Hilchas Birchas HaShachar. Does anyone have any questions before we start on what we learned before?
Does he normally give that little closing statement at the end of each Torah?
Hmm?
Does he normally give something like that closing statement? Hey, I know it seemed like I was all
No.
It's just here, really.
Yeah. He doesn't usually do that. No. This is unusual. This is unusual. No, but Reb Noson really, because again, Rebbe Nachman was talking to Reb Noson about this idea of the Heichal HaTemuras. And Reb Noson just wasn't getting it. Again, Reb Noson wasn't understanding. Understand? He didn't understand it. So Rebbe Nachman said, okay, I'll tell you a story to help you understand it.
What's Heichal HaTemuras? That could be that.
Chamber of Exchange.
Chamber of Exchange, okay.
You see, now we are like a candelabra. If each one lights his light, we are like a candelabra.
Yes, we're a candelabra, yeah. Okay. But it's amazing, Yossi, right? It's really, truly amazing. Yeah. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, so let's start now. We need a lot of siyata d'shmaya. Al pi ma shekosa b'simin reish tes vov, right? Lesson 215, and that's in Likutey Maran, right? Me'inyan ha'esrim va'arba minei pidyonos. That there are 24 different kinds of pidyonos that tzaddikim can do. Tzaddikim can help us can help Klal Yisrael to be paid them to redeem us from. There are 24 different kinds. Why? Because there are 24 different courthouses up on high. There are 24 different courthouses up on high, and the tzaddikim know how to bring the opinion, the redemption to get you from each one of those courthouses. Okay? I'll just tell you one nice thing, okay? We're going to learn, not now, it'll be a little later, but before we start, I just want to tell you one thing. That, when we say Shema Yisrael, okay? So Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, is 25 letters. 25 letters. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchusa L'Olam Vod is 24 letters. 24. So when you take on, when you are Mekabel Ol Malchus Shemayim, that's what the whole thing of Shema Yisrael is, right? To take on the yoke of heaven, right? To take that on. So then you get yourself a pass to get through that day through the 24 courthouses. You have 25 supersedes the 24. So you go along with a pass and you get through every courthouse because you got a pass from the Melech Malchei Amlachim. He gave you a pass. Isn't that nice? Isn't that really nice? Right?
Well, why do we say it twice a day then?
We say it more than twice.
Yeah, we do. So
because each time of the day you need other things, okay. Right? So you say it at night, right? You say it in the morning, you say it in the afternoon, so you're covered, right? Okay. So the tzaddikim know how to do it. So that's okay. The tzaddik knows how to do it. The mamash go into the courthouse and plead the case, and how to get an acquittal on the case in the courthouse. What I told you is not really going in the courthouse, just getting past the courthouse. Right? But the tzaddikim can actually fix the problem. They know how to fix the problem. Okay? Okay. V'ayin sham mashe kosev sheMoshe oisek tamid legaya gerim. Moshe Rabbeinu was always working on making gerim. Who the gerim was Moshe Rabbeinu was working on? The Erev Rav. Right? The Erev Rav, right? Those rascals, right?
He wasn't so successful.
Well, okay. Yeah, they're still around. But the point, again, Moshe Rabbeinu, his whole point was to reveal Hashem in the world. And the greatest way you can reveal Hashem in the world is when you bring others that are not part of our fold, and you bring them into the fold. And you can bring them into the fold, and then you can make Hashem's light greater. Right? We're going to learn also the concept of Moshe Rabbeinu. There's Moshe Rabbeinu, his name is Moshe. Right? And there's a concept of shmad. Shmad. What shmad? You know what shmad is? When a person leaves the religion, right? The person leaves the religion, he leaves Judaism, chas v'shalom. So they call what? Forcefully. No. Shmad is he chooses. He chooses to leave.
Shmad is the first history of something?
Yeah. That's when Jews decide to leave. They decide they don't want to be a Jew anymore. And they go and they'll baptize themselves or they'll do something like that. Right? So Moshe Rabbeinu is one over. Moshe is Mem Shin Hey. Shmad is Shin Mem Dalid. The only difference is the Dalid and the Hey. The Hey is one up on the Shmad. So if you stay with Moshe Rabbeinu again, you have one up. You can get over the whole idea of Shmad. I'm going to learn the idea of Shmad is any time we do something contrary to Hashem's will, that's a level of Shmad.
We're all some Shmad of us.
There's multiple levels. There's unlimited levels, right? The worst is if a person leaves religion. He leaves. He checks out, right? That's the worst. But there's so many levels. Anytime I do something contrary to what my neshama wants, right? Every time I do something contrary to what the neshama wants, which is contrary to what Hashem wants, that is a level of shmad. A small level, okay, but it still is a level of shmad. And then again, when you take on Moshe, the Torah's Moshe, you study, that's how you can get out of that. And that's why it's so integral that we study Torah every day, because the Yetzer Hara wants us to shema every day. Every day.
But is that connected to what you're saying, the 24 levels of the tzaddikim know of judgment? Meaning, there's also, like, so to speak, 24 levels of Shema? Is that?
No, there's unlimited levels in the Shema. There's 24 courthouses.
Yeah.
And the tzaddikim know all the judges in the courthouses.
Yeah.
And they know how to deal with it, like today, like in the world today, right? So if you know there's a lawyer, if you have a case, right? And you know there's a certain judge is going to take over is going to be on your case. And you know there's a lawyer, you can get a lawyer that plays golf with that judge, right? Right? Every Sunday they go out and they play golf with that judge, right? So you want to take that lawyer, right? Right? You want to take that lawyer, right? I'm just giving you a silly example of how it works. So the tzaddikim, they understand, they know the judges. And they understand how the judges rule. They understand all of that. And they know how to work through it. You understand? In the world here, it's silly because he'll just do what he'll just be nice to you, not because you were necessarily a good lawyer, because you're his friend. Okay? But in Shemayim, the tzaddikim know how to deal with the judges in a way that they can actually get an acquittal on the case legitimately. Okay? Not with a favor. Okay? All right, now look. Now, so we say now, ki nistalik b'Shabbos be'ez ha'mincha b'zman Rava d'Rava. Moshe Rabbeinu left the world. He went up on that mountain. When was that? That was on Shabbos. And when on Shabbos was that? That was by mincha time. It's a very, very special time. That's the time of Rava d'Rava. That's the time of Ratzon. That's the time of the closest connection that we have with Hashem is that time. We can connect to Hashem the most at that time. Why? Because Shabbos is so potent, like we learned, right? And we have the Neirush of Shabbos, the candles of Shabbos, right? And on Shabbos, why are the candles so important? Because we have the truth on Shabbos. We feel the truth on Shabbos, right? We learned that, right? And we learned that that's why Chanukah is so important, because we have the candles during the week. So we have the truth of Hashem also during the week. That's why Chanukah was so important. We learned that, right? So Shabbos, but the most potent time on Shabbos to connect to Hashem is the Rava d'Rava. Why is that? Because that's the time where Shabbos is about to leave, right? Shabbos is about to leave, then it's mincha time, right? The sun is about to set, right? The sun is about to set. The Shabbos is about to leave. So there's always it's a time of endearment that we have with Hashem at that time, because Shabbos is about to leave. So Hashem wants us to have that, we can have that relationship with Hashem at that time. It's almost like we have when it's Yom Kippur and Ne'ilah is a special, special time.
Is it a more special time to daven mincha late rather than taking it in early?
Yes, the tzaddikim always would daven mincha later in the day. They would not daven mincha gedola, they would daven mincha ketana, right? And then they would have shalosh shudas.
Mincha gedola, just in general, to that point, like most of the time during the week, for example, it's better to daven mincha gedola.
No, I don't know. No. We're talking now about Shabbos.
Yeah, that's right. That's fine.
During
I read in the Talmud Yerushalmi that what you said, that the tzaddikim of Eretz Israel, they prayed near sunset.
Yes.
But when I do that, I just forget davening. That's why I always try
Okay. Listen, of course. No. If you're going to forget that, so you do what works for you. No. I'm just trying to explain the concept of the Rava. That's all. And I'm just giving examples of what this time is. Did you ever hear this before? Anyone ever heard this idea of the Rava and special
You said
time?
it.
I mean, I think that the Zohar writes before Siyach Shlishi. There's like a piece that we say.
Yeah.
Skin Sudasa, but like.
Hemnusa, Shleimusa, Chedusa, the Malka Gadisha. The state Tapuchin, right? Yeah. You go to the apple orchard, right?
It's a good time.
Yeah. Special. Very special. Mamish, very, very special. So, but Moshe Rabbeinu left the world at that time, specifically at that time. We're going to learn a little bit more. We're going to learn a little bit more why Moshe Rabbeinu decided to leave, why he left at that time. It's a very special time. Shemisham ha'pinyan ha'koilel kol etzem va'arba minei pidyonos. Because at that time, since it's such an endearment It's a time of endearment. So Moshe Rabbeinu, what?
It's interesting. So you're saying Moshe Rabbeinu died and left the world on Zion, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're telling me that if I go back to whenever it is the year that we say,
it'll be Shabbos.
It'll be Shabbos.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's what the Zohar says. It's not me. I'm not saying it.
That's like
I don't know the history like that. I'm just teaching what we, the material we have here. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always be Shabbos. That's interesting. That's interesting. Always be Shabbos.
Right. We know that David HaMelech also died on Shabbos, and Yosef Tzaddik died on Shabbos.
Yosef also.
And then we say that when we say on Shabbos Tzidkoscha Tzedek, we say that Tzidkoscha, we say 3 times.
Right.
One is for Yosef, to Moshe, and for David. If you look into that, you'll see they all died at that same time of the Rabbin on Shabbos. Wow! All 3 the tzaddikim. Those 3 tzaddikim. Okay. And Yosef, Moshe, and
I
David.
heard of Moshe and David, but not about Yosef. It's also
One of the it's one of the 3. You look at why we say the 3 stanzas. You'll see it.
3 what?
3 Tzidkoscha paragraphs.
That's what we say in the Mincha.
Yes. Okay, so then because that time is koilel is all inclusive of the 24 types of pidyonas, 24 types of what word would you like to use for pidyon? You have a good word for English?
Ransoms.
What? Redemption. No, but I don't know if redeem. No,
This is ransoms.
ransoms. Oh, ransoms. Ransom, I don't know, that's not a nice word. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Ki Moshe oimed bein Shmad leRotzen, because Moshe Rabbeinu was standing there between Shmad and Rotzen Hashem, right? Like we said, Moshe Rabbeinu is only one letter. He's only one number, one letter, one number. The Hey is one number over the Dalet, all right? Umala mishmad leRotzen. And we can go from Shmad to Rotzen. Right? We said anytime we do something contrary to what Hashem wants, that's a level of Shmad. Right? But anytime we return back to Hashem, then we turn back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's Rotzen. That's the Rotzen Hashem, right? We're gonna learn a concept. There's also something called Metzach HaRotzen and Metzach HaNachash. Right? We're gonna learn different concepts. Okay. Ayin Sham. This is a wondrous lesson to try to understand what's going on. What does Moshe Rabbeinu have to do with Shmad and Rotzen? What is the idea that Moshe Rabbeinu left at the time of Ravin on Shabbos? What is the idea that there are 24 different types of pidyonim, 24 types of redemptions, ransoms, whatever word you like to use? Can we just say the word pidyon? We all know what it is, right? We just say, okay, we're okay with that pidyon. Okay, there are 24 types of different types of pidyon that you have to get through the different courthouses. All right? So let's go now to Aleph. B'zeh yadua b'ksavim. Shesoid Rabba the Rabbin, that this secret of Rabba the Rabbin, who soid komus v'sosum v'nelam mi'ein ko. This is such a dear time. This is such a special time. No one really can comprehend it. No one can really comprehend what this time is. It's something so awesome. V'afilu Moshe Rabbeinu lo yasigu. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't understand it. He couldn't put his finger on what is this idea. There's an expression like that. He can't put his finger on it. He couldn't put his finger on what is this Rabbin the Rabbin. He didn't. He knew it's something great. It's great.
Be a good time to check out.
What? Yeah. Well, Yossi, it could be like this. Well, let's say someone has a very precious stone, right? Let's say you have a very precious stone, right? So, if you don't know anything about stones, you're not a genealogist, right? If you don't know about stones, so you're looking at the stone, it's beautiful, it's nice. But can you really explain what's so beautiful about the stone?
No, but you know there's something special.
There's something special here. I know because someone told me it's something special, right? The other guy that had that funny little glass of that thing, and he's looking at it, he said, wow, that's great, right? But I don't know how to look at it. Does anyone here know how to look at precious stones?
I used to.
You did? Okay, right. But you have to know how to look at it to see the value in it, right? So even Moshe Rabbeinu, this is something, so I'm using a silly example, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to give you an example of something that you can have, you know about, but you just don't, you can't relate, you don't know how to relate to it. Okay? All right, okay. Only the time when he was leaving, when Moshe Rabbeinu was leaving the world, at that moment he was leaving the world, Nistalik L'Sham, he went to that place, B'Shabbos B'Mincha. He went to that place with Shabbos B'Mincha. Moshe Rabbeinu went to that place. In other words, he didn't know what it was. But when Hashem took him from the world at that time, why did Hashem tell him to go up to the mountain specifically at that time? Right? It was Hashem that told Moshe Rabbeinu to go up to the mountain, right? Yeah. He didn't go up on his own. Hashem said, now go up to the mountain. When was that? Shabbos. When on Shabbos was that? Mincha time. Right with the Raven. That's when he told him to go up on the mountain. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't understand why. He didn't know. He kind of understood he was going to go up there to leave the world because he dealt with Aharon before, right? And Hashem told Aaron to go up on the mountain. And then Moshe Rabbeinu took off the clothes. He undressed Aaron. He put the clothes on Eliezer, right? It's his son, Elazar, his son, right? And he made him the Kohen Gadol. And then Aaron checked out, right? Ayin zeh zaka chulka de Moshe. We see how great the chelik of Moshe Rabbeinu was. It says that nobody knows the place that he was buried. No one knows, right? The Torah says, Adayom, right? No one knows where Moshe Rabbeinu was buried. They have no idea. Here's a new concept, another concept, very big concept. The concept of Ratzon Shebaratzon is the tachlis of a yediyah shaloi neda. Do you know what that means? The tachlis of knowing is, the main point of knowing is, I don't know.
I don't know, not knowing.
The main thing to know in life is, I don't know. Isn't that amazing? Is that amazing? The main thing you need to know in life is, I don't know. And rely on Hashem. That's what it means. Because I have no idea, but I trust in you, Hashem. I don't know. The tachlis hayediyah shaloi neda. You heard that concept before, right? Right. B'simcha. Okay. Chanukah sameach. This shaloi neda. V'al kei misham hu apidyon v'amtoka hagedolim. That's the greatest place of the sweetening of the judgment. In that place, in that time of Rava de Ravin. That's why it's the most special. Because Moshe Rabbeinu had no idea. He didn't know. He didn't have any idea. And therefore he was always relying on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We know when the tzaddik leaves the world, he brings a forgiveness to the world, right? Moshe Rabbeinu brought tremendous forgiveness to the world via him dying. All the tzaddikim, when they pass away, they bring a forgiveness to the world. Shemamtik is kol minei hadinim shebechol esrim va'arba batei hadinim. He was able to sweeten the judgment in the 24 courthouses. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu was, because it was at that time, and that time is included of all of the pidyon that you need for each one of the 24 courthouses. So Moshe Rabbeinu was able to enter every one of the courthouses and have every case dismissed, acquitted, dismissed. I don't know, whatever you like to use. Okay, because it's higher than all the chachma, all wisdom, and all knowledge. The tachlis yadiyah shalei neda, and that's the time of Ratzon Shebaratzon, Rava de Ravin. That's on Shabbos by Mincha. Ki kol pidyon v'hamtoka shetzrichen lahamtik ezer din. Because any time you have to you have to sweeten the judgment. Anytime there's a din in the world, anytime we have judgment in the world, we're going through that right now, right? There's a lot of judgment in the world right now. Lahamtik ezer din, hu al yedei chochma v'seichel shu shoyrish lo'oisei din. So you need the wisdom of the root of the wisdom of that din, of that judgment. You need to understand, where is that din coming from? What's the source of that judgment? What is the source of that judgment? Ki koila b'machshava is biriru. Because all of the sparks that are in the machshava can be clarified. V'kama Torah chodi the Rab Shimon Simin Samach Aleph. That's another beautiful Torah in Likutey Moran, lesson 61. Ayin Sham Aval Apinya V'amtoka Hanimshach Mibechinas Rava de Ravin Hu Lemala Mikol HaSichlos V'Achachmos. But that time at Mincha on Shabbos, you can make repair for things that normally cannot be repaired because you can't access it. It's a chokmah that we can't access. Again, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't understand it. How are we ever going to understand it? It's higher than all knowledge and all wisdom. And it's the source of on the Elyon, the Chachma Elyon. Up on high, it's the highest wisdom. Up on high. But down here, how do I access it? By not knowing and trusting in Hashem. I can attach to that wisdom of Hashem, that great wisdom of Hashem, by saying, I only rely on you, Hashem. I trust in you, Hashem. I have no idea. I'm not going to try to figure it out. We learned about that in the last lesson, that we don't do the mechakrim, we don't investigate, we don't need to invest, we don't need to do all the things that the philosophers do. They always try to think, but we learn by us, I don't know, and I just trust in you, Hashem. Nobody knows the place that Moshe Rabbeinu was buried, because Moshe Rabbeinu came to this place. He came to this chachma. He came to that supernal chachma of Hashem because of when he left the world and his close connection to Hashem. Hashem gave him that preview. He saw, and he was able to make those hamtakas hadin in the 24 courthouses. He was able to sweeten the judgment because he connected to that. But how do we connect to it? Tachlis hayadiyah shalai neda. We don't know, but I want to just connect to you, Hashem. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu was able to be mamtik everything. Ad shemamshichin lemala im hapidyon lahalois mishmad l'rotzen. And Moshe Rabbeinu, again, where is Moshe Rabbeinu buried? No. He's buried where Baal Por is, right? He's right opposite Baal Por. Right? Whatever. But we don't know exactly. Nobody knows where it is, right? They don't know where it is. Right, so we don't know. But it says in the Torah that he was buried opposite the Baal Por. The Avodah Zarah. The what?
Okay.
That was the craziest Avodah Zarah of them all, right? The one that they had to defecate to the Avodah Zarah. Crazy. That was crazy.
When you say that, is it like the actual idol of Baal Por, or?
Yeah. Whatever. Again, the Torah says that it's keneged Baal Por. That's what it says. That's what it says in the pasuk. Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu is Mish.
Where does it say that
in the Dvarim? No, it's in the Zohar. It's in the Dvarim. It's in the Chumash.
In the Chumash?
Yeah, it's in the Chumash. Yeah. Look it up where Moshe Rabbeinu is buried. It's in the last part. It's in Vizos HaBracha. Yeah, you'll see it right there. Mishmad l'rotzen. Levatel koyach achar and af, to put out the anger, the terrible anger that's caused when there's shmad in the world. Hashem, it causes a tremendous, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets very upset when there's this shmad in the world. It causes a great anger, achar and af. Shemisham koyach avodah zarah. That's the whole thing of avodah zarah. That's where all the Yitzharas come from, the judgment, from all of these judgments, all the time. And again, we're learning, any time a Jew, chas v'shalom, does something against what Hashem wants, that is a level of shmad. That is a level of leaving his connection to Judaism. It's an amazing idea to realize. And again, that's why we learned all these lessons before, how to control my thoughts, how to control my imagination, right? I have to control my imagination. So if I'm imagining, if I would imagine, if I do this thing right now, it's as if I'm going and I'm baptizing myself. Chas v'sholom. Am I going to do that? Again, we learned about koyach hamedama. Am I really going to do that? That's really what I'm doing. I'm doing something against what Hashem wants me to do. It's amazing, right? If we can use our minds, our minds are so powerful if we learn how to use them to control our actions. If we can do that, right? Levatlam u'leshabram la'alois misham lebechinas ratzon, to bring everything up again to the idea of ratzon Hashem, to bring everything back to Hashem. That's the whole idea, to bring everything back to Hashem. All of the anger, all the thing, to make the tshuva on everything and to return everything back to Hashem. Understand this. We're going to learn a lot about this. We're going to learn a lot more about this. This is just a preview on this lesson, okay? Reb Noson, every time we start a new lesson, Reb Noson gives us a lot of information, right? And then he deciphers it. He deciphers it as we go along. So, Baruch Hashem, we had a lot of information today. Baruch Hashem, we were able to be Messiah, the Halacha Gimel, right? A Dalet, and then we started Halacha Hey, Baruch Hashem, right? Halacha Dalet. I said Dalet because Dalet was actually in Hilchos Tefillah. Right, we went straight. I forgot to tell you that, but we went from Gimel, we went from 3 to 5, because 4, if you remember when we were in Hilchos Tefillin, we started learning about Hilchos Birchas HaShachar. So that was the beginning, but it was connected to Tefillin. So now we started Hey today. Okay, everyone. So everyone have a wonderful day, Chanukah Sameach, and we should hear Besorah Tovot Ezrat Hashem.